Hey guys, I'm Andrew Shrout, and I am here in the studio, not in the sideboard where you would normally find me as part of the SDG Live broadcast, because I am going to do some unboxings. I'm here today unboxing Return to Ravnica, which is a set that I am a huge fan of, so I'm pretty excited about this. Ravnica City of Guilds, the original set, was released in 2006, was one of Wizards' most popular sets of all time, and so they decided to do a sequel 2 years ago. Return to Ravnica was that sequel. And I have not one, not two, but 3 boxes of Return to Ravnica. Now, my esteemed editor has only allowed me to open 1. So, I gotta pick one. That one sounds good. Yeah. And I can hear it. I can hear the Sphinx's Revelation in this box. So this is the one we're gonna open. So let's get started. All right, let's crack some packs. So first step is gonna be infiltrating the box, which, boom, nailed it. I frequently struggle with that, as does everyone, I think, so I don't feel too bad about it. All right. So let's get this thing popped up and get this insert out of the way and into the packs. Drainpipe Vermin, Giant Growth, Crosstown Courier, Cobble Brute, Dramatic Rescue, Concordia Pegasus, Cremate, Batterhorn, Inaction Injunction, Drudge Beetle. I missed this set. I want to draft this all of a sudden. Savage Surge, Golgari Decoy, New Prov, Guildmage, Rest in Peace. It's a powerful sideboard card in Eternal formats. If I were drafting this pack, I would be taking the New Prov Guildmage. No question there. So, it's a pretty good start with our rare. Rest in peace. And moving right along. The old Bellow Lizard, Armory Guard, Vassal Soul, Trestle Troll, Sewer Shambler, Drudge Beetle, Doorkeeper. Lobber Crew. Always a fan of the Lobber Crew in draft. Call of the Conclave, a card near and dear to my heart. I am a card-carrying member of the Selesnya Conclave, so probably first picking that. But then there's a Corrosive Guildmage, so that card's probably better. And then Underworld Connections, the rare. Underworld Connections, a card that we saw a lot of last year, as it was a kind of a focal point of the mono-black Devotion deck that run rampant all over Standard. So 2 for 2 in sweet playable rares so far. And we have a Centaur token, so value. All right, we got to keep this up. Mono playable rares. Mono giant 6/7s. I'm okay with that too. Avenging Arrow, Cobble Brute, Hussar Patrol, Asperious Skywatch, Criminally Underrated and Limited. Lobber Crew, Concordia Pegasus, Destroy the Evidence. Tavern Swindler, reprint from Invasion, reprint from Odyssey, and Deadbridge Goliath. Not a card that saw a ton of play, although it definitely saw some. I remember the Predator's like kind of mono green splashing black deck that Brian Kibler was playing in Standard for a little while featured this card, so I'll take it. 3 for 3, actual mono playable rares so far. I'm trying to remember how many just stone unplayable cards there are in the rare slot in this set. Probably not many, so I think we can keep this up. I think we're going the full 32, guys. Dino Charge, Ethereal Armor, the card that put the Slippery Bogle deck on the map. Paralyzing Grasp, Chorus of Might, Grizzly Salvage, the card that put Junk Reanimator on the map. Rakdos Shred Freak, the card that has knives for fingers. Stab Wound, we're probably first picking that. That card's busted. Tower Endrick, Azorius Guildgate. Racecourse Fury, Hover Barrier. Teleportal. Firemind's Foresight. Okay. I kind of want to stretch and call this playable. I came very, very close to playing this card in a Pro Tour once. I played a blue-white-red control deck at Pro Tour Dragon's Maze, and ultimately ended up cutting this card from my sideboard. But I originally had one in my sideboard as kind of a trump card in Control Mirrors. It lets you search for an instant that costs 3, an instant that costs 2, and an instant that costs 1. So Sphinx's Revelation, of course, costs however much mana you want it to cost, but for the purposes of searching for your deck, it costs 3. Turn and Burn can cost 2 or 3, and Dispel was huge in Control Mirrors, so it cost 1. So this was basically like draw 3 cards, but they happen to be the best 3 cards in your deck in a Control Mirror. And that was what I was planning on using it for, but I didn't actually end up registering it. But I'm still going to call it playable. We did it. 4 for 4, playables. I'm good at this. All right, pack number 5. Speak of the devil, there is a Dispel. Nice Sphinx's Revelation. Counter it. All right. Vassal Soul, Sundering Growth, Drudge Beetle, Doorkeeper, Lobber Crew, Mind Rot, Seller of Songbirds, Void Wilder, Live Sky Knight. Probably first picking that. Bazar Krovod, Golgari Charm, a card that has become a legacy staple in time, and Hypersonic Dragon. Okay, I don't think there's ever been a constructed deck that has played Hypersonic Dragon. The card's pretty sweet, though. It's very good and limited. I take it back. I would have first picked this over the Live Sky Knight. Attacking for 4 in the air on turn 5. Powerful effect, but not really a constructed card. That's okay. 4 for 5, still pretty good. And Rhino token. What else? Oh, and a foil Stab Wound. Nice. Okay. So, a little bit of extra value out of that pack. Next up, Survey the Wreckage, Aerial Predation, Chronic Flooding. You guys remember the Chronic Flooding deck? That was a thing for like 2 weeks on Moto. It was like a Reanimator deck that just tried to. You played Chronic Flooding on your own lands and used that to fill up your graveyard. It was sweet. Drainpipe Vermin, Transguild Promenade, which is a first pickable card in this limited format, as unassuming as it looks at first. Dramatic Rescue, Tower Drake, Dead Reveler, Tristani's Judgment, Centaur's Herald, Drag Mangler, that's a sweet one. Never really, it's kind of a fringe player during its time in Standard, but I always expected it to do more than it did, to actually really break through and put up some marquee finishes, but always kind of a tier 2 deck. Fencing Ace, Corrosive Guildmage, I believe this is our first pick. Collective Blessing. Just kidding, this is our first pick. This card is completely busted in half. It's like an overrun that stays there. You know what? This card has seen play. I'll give it credit. 5 of 6. I played it briefly in some kind of 4-color mid-range decks. Very good with token producers in limited, but just a powerful effect. So a generous 5 for 6, maybe more like 4 for 6. But all right, I'll give Collective Blessing and Firemind's Foresight credit for half of a playable rare. So we'll say we're 4 for 6 right now. And we are leading off with Giant Growth, Trader's Instinct, Sundering Growth, Goblin Electromancer, a card that I have done some fantastic work with in Modern, but I never really did anything in Standard. Rakdos Guildgate, Axebane Guardian, Downsize, Concordia Pegasus, Cremate, Batterhorn, Security Blockade, Brush Strider, V2 Gaza Guildmage, the easy first pick, Archon of the Triumvirate. This is actually a pretty close decision in Limited. So this is a giant flyer, but this guy spits out tokens for days. They are basically both going to end the game on their own if they're uncontested, but this guy costs 2. So I'm leaning towards the V2 Gaza Guildmage in draft. Archon of the Triumvirate, certainly a very good card in Limited. Not really a constructed player, I don't think. So I think that puts us at 4 of 7 out of our rare pools. Next up, Avenging Arrow, Bellows Lizard, Dispel, Horncaller's Chant. Big fan of this card in Limited. Augur Spree, Common Bond, Tristani's Judgment, Annihilating Fire, Centaur's Herald, Dead Reveler, Fall of the Gavel, Pyro Conversions. I always wanted to make a Pyro Conversions deck work, but I never even remotely came close. I don't think anyone else did either. It's a shame. Sweet card. Rakdos Cackler, certainly a card that did a lot of work and pulled its weight during its tenure in Standard. And Ash Zealot. These two kind of the 1-2 punch in mono red decks for the last 2 years, basically. Ash Zealot definitely counts as a playable, so ding. I think we're up to 5 of 8 now. This card was printed right after Innistrad block as kind of an attempt at a hoser. It works, you know, it punishes people for abusing the graveyard, but really it's mostly just a first striking haste guy for 2. It didn't really need the bonus text to be playable, and mostly what it did was attack for 2, which is something that I love doing in Magic, so pretty pumped about an Ash Zealot. First card off the top, Pursuit of Flight. I played 2 of these in the main deck of a sealed deck that I went 8-1 with in Gothenburg. Always a fond memory for me because this card not actually that good, but satisfying when you put it on a guy and they don't kill that guy. That didn't happen very often in this format, but it worked for me that one day. Drainpipe Vermin, Hussar Patrol, Grizzly Salvage, Sewer Shambler, Dredge Beetle, Doorkeeper, the fabled Doorkeeper deck, as well as the fabled Lobber Crew deck. These cards kind of went hand in hand in a theme deck that wasn't really very good, but was a lot of fun to draft. Mind Rat, Stellar of Songbirds, Shrieking Affliction, Rakdos Charm, probably the worst charm in this set. The one of the cycle that I think saw the least amount of play, which is a shame. It actually it has 3 relevant abilities. As odd as that is, this being the worst one always kind of amuses me because this is a very good cycle. Hover Barrier and Jared's Orders. Am I gonna? Can I give this like quarter credit? Maybe am I at like 5.25 playables out of this card? Yeah, it's not really playable, unfortunately. I think we're at 5 of 9 now. Elect Trickery. Huge fan of this card. I have played this card in Legacy. It probably wasn't a good idea, but I did it. Actually, this card's starting to see a lot more play in Legacy very recently because of the emergence of the young Pyromancer Blue-Red Delver decks. Crosstown Courier, Launch Party, Avenging Arrow, Grizzly Salvage, Rakdos Shred Freak. He has knives for fingers. I just want to reiterate that. How messed up is that? Splatter Thug, Centaur Herald, Destroy the Evidence, Selesnya Keyrune, Azorius Justiciar. Big fan of this card in Limited. This is probably the first pick. Actually, I said that. I think I'd probably take Soulsworn Spirit instead. And Search the City. This is the marquee bad rare of this set. So I'm not even going to try. We're 5 of 10. This card, when you play it, you exile the top 5 cards of your library, and then whenever you play a card with the same name as one of those cards, you put that card into your hand. And then you get to take an extra turn once you do it 5 times, which never happens. So this card, I'm willing to believe that someone somewhere made it work and took an extra turn with it once. I want that to have been the case. It probably never happened, though. I've lost count. Are we 5 of 10 or 5 of 11 or whatever? 5 playable rares. I know that number. Druid's Deliverance, always a blowout and limited. Elect Trickery, Crosstown Courier, Launch Party, Spawn of Rix Mahdi, Courser's Accord, Tenement Crusher, Sunspire Griffin, Azorius Guild Gates, Crow's Monitor, Seek the Horizon, Rite of Reaping, Golgari Decoy. This has not been a very exciting pack for limited. I think I'm probably first picking the Decoy so far. And the rare Wayfaring Temple. That's actually kind of close. I would probably take the Temple, actually, now that I think about it. But Wayfaring Temple, well, I don't think anyone ever played it in Constructed, so does not go into our playable count, but still a sweet card. And we are on to, I believe, pack 13. They start to run together at this point. Golgari Guildgate, Deviant Glee, Armory Guard, Trestle Troll, Goblin Electromancer number 2. I don't know why I'm keeping count of that. I just love that card. Batterhorn, Inaction, Injunction, Dredge Beetle, Rakdos Guildgate, Void Wilder. Huge fan of this card in Limited. Dark Revenant, Hellhole Flailer. Another card I'm a huge fan of in Limited. This is my first pick. Unless this rare is really spicy, which it is. Okay. Mizium Mortars. Definitely a playable rare, so we're up to 6 now. This is also easily my first pick out of this pack if I'm drafting it. This is probably the best rare in the whole set. It is basically just a one-sided Wrath of God that also kills a thing on turn 2 if you need it. So slamming that, adding it to the binder. 6 playable rares and counting. Next up, Gargoyle Gate, Grizzly Salvage, Promenade, Destroy the Evidence, Stonefaring Crocodile. This is the first Gorehouse Chainwalker that we have opened. 3/2, can't block, who cares, just attacks for 3. This card's fantastic, saw a lot of play. My one complaint with this card is that I can never remember if the hyphen is between Gore and House or between Chain and Walker. I have typed this card in a lot of deck lists, and I get it wrong every time. It's very frustrating. Inaction Injunction is at Guildgate. Keening Apparition, Call of the Conclave, Ultimate Price, New Prov Guildmage, so a lot of good options there if we're drafting that set. I am leaning towards the Guildmage, big fan of the Guildmage. And our first Mythic, Worldspine Worm. This guy, I cast him in a draft once. I was very proud of that. He cost basically $1 million, cost 11. He's a 15/15. When he dies, he gives you 3 5/5 worms with trample. He doesn't stay gone, he shuffles back in. Just a big, dumb animal. One of the biggest, dumbest animals in the game, actually. This card does actually see playing constructed. It is a one-of in a lot of elf sideboards in Legacy. They put it into play with Natural Order, where it does some good work. So definitely a notch in the playable count, and our first Mythic so far of the box. And it looks like we got a foil Rootborn Defenses to top things off. Chorus of Might, Grizzly Salvage, Transguild Promenade, Chainwalker number 2. Inaction Injunction is at Guild Gate, Ogre Jailbreaker, Keening Apparition, Asperia Skywatch, Minotaur Aggressor, Zanikev Locust, Rakdos Ringleader, Abrupt Decay. Boom. So that is, now that the set has rotated out of Standard, this might be the best card in the set, since, well, the best rare in the set. Since it sees a lot of play in Legacy and in Modern. The cycle of cards that can't be countered, they were all very good. This is probably the best of the 5. It is very effective in Legacy for dealing with counterbalances, Tarmogoyfs, Delvers of Secrets, and Insectile Aberrations. Just a really efficient removal spell. And definitely excited to crack that. That brings us up to, I believe, 8 playable rares. And a foil cancel. So, along with our Abrupt Decay, we can just say no. Unless our opponent also plays an Abrupt Decay, then we can't counter it. But it's shiny, so value. I love Axebane Stag. Just look at him. He's so majestic and big, and he attacks for 6. I love attacking for 6. It's like my second favorite thing after attacking for 2. Catacomb Slug, Essence Backlash, Sluiceway Scorpion. I think this is the first Sluiceway Scorpion we've seen. I was a big fan of this card, limited as well. Gorehouse, Inaction Injunction is at Guildgate, Keening Apparition, Ogre Jailbreaker, Asperia Skywatch, Dark Revenant, Rakdos Keyrune, Street Sweeper. I think I may be taking the Sluiceway Scorpion out of this pack so far, unless the rare's a good one. It is. All right. Abrupt Decay number 2, back to back. Kill all your things except for that Street Sweeper. That Street Sweeper's too big. But we're going to kill the Centaur and the Keyrune. Get out to the graveyard with you. So up to... this foil cancel should be over here in the value stack. Up to, I believe, now 9 playable rares, including a 2 of that we are excited to play in Eternal formats from now until the end of time. So pretty good haul so far. I believe we're at the... This pack marks the halfway mark. Paralyzing Grasp, Course of Might, Eyes in the Skies. That may be the first Eyes in the Skies we've seen, too. I was always a huge fan of this card, just as a tricky play. Just leaving up mana and then representing creatures is always huge. Traitorous Instinct, Cobblebrute, Sunspire Griffin, Selesnya Guildgate, Corrosda Monitor, Runewing. I actually caught a flash of the rare there. I'm cheating a little. I'm pretty excited about it. Slum Reaper, Arrest. Would be our first pick, except I know what's coming. Nivix Guildmage, who cares? And then there's an Utvara Hellkite. This guy is enormous, and he's our second Mythic, actually, which is really exciting. Foil, Blister Coil Weird, to tie things together. You know what? I said that I was excited about this. 8 mana is a lot, even in a kind of slower set like Return to Ravnica. I'm not actually positive that I would take this over the Arrest. But I think I would, because it's enormous and it breathes fire and it makes more dragons that are also enormous and breathe more fire. And I'm a huge fan of being enormous and breathing fire. It's like my third favorite thing after attacking for 6 and attacking for 2. Pursuit of Flight, Drainpipe Vermin, Dramatic Rescue. I haven't mentioned this card yet, but I used to love this card. I have drafted decks with like 5 of this card. Somehow gaining 2 life just makes an unsummon so much better in terms of the tempo you gain. So I first picked this card happily, many, many times. Is a Guildgate, Daggerdrome Imp, one of the best of all targets for the various scavenges in this set. Asperia Skywatch, Lava Crew, Concordia Pegasus, Minotaur Aggressor, Blister Coil Weird, Slime Molding, which makes a giant token. Big fan of that card. And Havoc Festival, not really so much a fan of this card. I don't think this card has ever seen any play. If anyone ever tried to play it in Constructed, I would shame them mercilessly. So I think that does not add to our count, which I believe is up to 11 now. But staying at 11 for this pack, including a foiled Dyna Charge, in case you wanted to blind your opponent while you attack them for 1,000,000. Drainpipe Vermin, Swift Justice, Horncaller's Chant, cancel, just say no, kids. Chemister's Trick, Courser's Accord, Skullrend, Hussar's Patrol, Grim Roustabout, Tower Drake, Tavern Swindler. Someone always was trying to make fetch happen with this card. It's just a Grizzly Bear, never activate it. Rixmati Guildmage, way more than just a Grizzly Bear, the Guildmage. This is a card I'm very happy to first pick. So, does the rare tempt me away? Cryptborn Horror. Cryptborn Horror is a reasonable card. I don't think it's as good as Rixmati Guildmage, but yeah. I don't think it was ever something that saw play either, so I don't think that contributes to our count. I think we are still at just 11 playables, 11 playable rares in Mythics. Yeah. Terrace Worm, sorry. Guildgate. Frostburn Weird. Card that kind of saw some play during its first year, but really took off after having Devotion to Blue and Devotion to Red became a thing the following year of Standard. Really underrated card in Limited. I am not strictly opposed to first picking it, so that's where we are right now. Sewer Shambler, Drudge Beetle, Doorkeeper, Dark Revenant, Selesnya Keyrune, Fencing Ace. Yeah, we're on a Frostburn Weird. Until Righteous Authority. Righteous Authority is a really sweet card. I talked about Pursuit of Flight and how, putting enchantments on your creatures is a pretty high risk and sometimes high reward play in Limited. Righteous Authority is just like that same problem, only more so. If you play it on your creature and the creature doesn't die, you probably win the game. So, huge fan of this card in Limited. I have never played it in Constructed. I don't think anyone else has either, so I don't think it goes into our Constructed count. And foil Transguild Promenade to tie the room together and help us cast that Righteous Authority. Up next, Launch Party, Avenging Arrow, Blizzard, Dispel, Sluiceway, Spawn of Rixmati, Centaur's Herald, Destroy the Evidence, Tower Drake, Knightly Valor. I just finished talking about enchantments. This was a card that I actually played a lot in Limited, even though it, like any other aura, it kind of exposes you to removal. The fact that you get a creature no matter what, thanks to the trigger, put this card a little bit of a notch above playable. And it was fantastic on the various 2-power flyers for 3 in this format. Kind of a build your own Sarah Angel type of effect. Seek the Horizon, Hellhole Flailer. That's what our pick is so far. Zorius Justiciar. Actually, I'd probably take this over the Hellhole Flailer. Wild Beastmaster. All right, I'm giving us credit for this. This is playable number 12. This card didn't see a ton of play, but I distinctly remember there being like kind of mono green stompy-ish type of decks during this card's tenure in Standard. It is a really powerful effect. Basically just a 1/1 that grows your team for +1/+1 whenever it attacks until you do something like Blood Rush, a Gore Clan Rampager, and then it grows your team for 5 instead of 1. So a lot of abusable upside here, and I definitely remember some decks that took advantage of that. So up to 12 playable rares. 12's not bad. I'll take 12. Still haven't found that that Sphinx's Revelation that I heard calling my name when I was listening to the box earlier. Urban Burgeoning, Inspiration, Trained Carousel, Survey the Wreckage, Common Bond, Rakdos Shred Freak, Annihilating Fire. That's our pick so far. Corrosive Monitor, Tristani's Judgment, Tenement Crasher, maybe Savage Surge actually. I was a huge fan of Savage Surge in this set. Pyro Convergence, V2 Guild Mage. I take it all back. This is what we're taking. Unless Azor's Elocutors. I won a game with this card once in Limited. Took a lot of work, but I did it. This card's really cool, but I would not call it playable. I don't think I've never seen anyone do anything with it in Constructed. But basically, a 3/5 for 5 is a reasonable rate on its own, and if you sit still for long enough, you win the game with it. So really cool design, and probably not a card I would first pick over the Guild Mage, but a card I would be happy to play in Limited anyway. Sphinx's Revelation, where are you? Chronic Flooding, Giant Growth, Trader's Instinct, Rootborn Defenses, Sluiceway Scorpion, Chemist's Trick. A card I always wanted to be good, but it never was, I don't think. Courser's Accords, Skull Rend, Stab Wound, a card that was very good. Knightly Valor, Codex Shredder, Heroes Reunion, Mythics Guild Mage. Do we get to first pick a Stab Wound? Or do we get that Sphinx's Revelation? No, we don't. We get Rakdos, Lord of Riots, though, which is Mythic number 3. Probably actually not a card you would pick over Stab Wound. Although, nah, who am I kidding? I'm slamming it. Giant Flyer, really cheap, kind of hard to cast. Has a weird, both because of its actual casting cost and because it has this strange clause that you have to satisfy, where you have to actually deal damage to your opponent somehow in order to cast it. But if you get it into play, you're probably winning. And I mentioned giant fire-breathing 6/6s being one of my favorite things. This guy, he kind of looks like he's breathing fire. I'll give him credit for that, too. Never saw any play in Constructed outside of single set block Constructed on Moto. I remember it showing up a little bit. You know what? That counts. 13 playable rares. All right, Drainpipe Vermin, Swift Justice, Horncaller's Chant, Cancel, Hussar Patrol, Spawn of Rick's Mahdi, Tenement Crasher, Runewing, Perilous Shadow, Tristani's Judgment. I haven't really been excited about any of these cards so far. Goblin Rally, Slitherhead, Golgari Charm. Yeah, really unexciting pack for Limited. I don't know what I'm first picking. The Tristani's Judgment, maybe? Or Growing Ranks. Growing Ranks is a pretty reasonable effect. It's such a weird card to read. If this was the first Return to Ravnica card you ever saw, it would really be confusing you as what it did. It doesn't do anything on its own, so that's kind of a mark against it. But if you get a giant token, then suddenly you have all the giant tokens and infinite giant tokens. And really just a fantastic way to grow your ranks. Constructed playability, I never saw it. I want to believe that someone did something with it sometime, but I just can't. I don't think it counts. I think we're still at 13 playable rares. I am first picking this, though. I forgot to mention that part, for sure. Survey the Wreckage, Axebane Stag, Deviant Glee, Rakdos Shred Freak, Sundering Growth, Explosive Impact, Mind Rot, Axebane Guardian. This is probably the first pick so far. Viashino Racketeer, Dark Revenant, Skymark Rock. Okay, never mind. First picking that one. Love me a Skymark Rock. Bloodfray Giant, and Cryptborn Horror number 2 as the rare. It was not playable. It was not a constructed playable the first time. It is not a constructed playable this time either. So does not bolster the count. Although we are kicking that draft off with a first pick Skymark Rock, which is a fantastic place to be. Dispel, Horncollar's Chant, Golgari Longlegs, one of the creepiest arts in the whole set. Essence Backlash, Rubbleback Rhino, Seller of Songbirds, Sewer Shambler, Corehouse Chainwalker, Gate Creeper Vine, Saurus Arrestor, Sphere of Safety. Another card that I was always trying to make happen, both in draft and in constructed, actually. It kind of saw some play later in its life in standard, thanks to the enchantment theme in Theros block, and particularly once we saw Eidolon of Blossoms and other payoffs for just having a ton of enchantments. I was always trying to make it happen in limited, and it was less good there, but still fine. Bazar Krovod, Rakdos Cackler, and Carnival Hellsteed. Yeah, just never saw any play. Just a big animal. Does attack for 6, which, as I have mentioned, is something I am a huge fan of, and probably the card I'm first picking out of this pack. First strike, haste, can't block. Who cares? Okay, well, you can leave it leashed if you really hate fun, but I do not hate fun. I like attacking for 6, and that's what I'd be doing with that card. Horncollar's Chant, Pursuit of Flight, Train Carousel, Chronic Flooding, Dramatic Rescue, Rector Shred Freak, Stab Wound, Snap It Off, Splatter Fog, Stealer of Secrets, Selesnya Guildgate, Oak Street Innkeeper, Zorius Keyrune, Vandal Blast, a card that has started to see play in Modern as a sideboard card against Affinity decks, and Rest in Peace number 2. Boom. So a lot of eternal playability out of this box so far. That makes Rest in Peace number 2 to go with Abrupt Decay number 2. Brings our playable count up to 14. Go us. Cancel. Bellows Lizard, Armory Guard, Aerial Predation, Centaur Healer. Is that the first Centaur Healer we've seen in this entire box? Odd. Anyway, this card was just a really good rate on a common. I remember when I first saw this card, I was like, wow, power creep, deal. I've happily first picked this card. So far, I think that's the card we're taking. Perilous Shadow, 10-Whip Crusher, Sunspire Griffin, nothing really calling to me yet. Goblin Rally, Slitherhead, Rakdos Rage Mutt. I love the word Rage Mutt. I would love to live in a world where Rage Mutts are just a thing that everybody knows about. It's like, yeah, I saw a Rage Mutt walking down the street. And Steam Vents. Boom. So, playable count up to now 15. Steam Vents, the first shock land we've opened out of this box. These, basically the marquee rares of the set. They were also the marquee rares of the original Ravnica block. Of course, they are islands and mountains. You can fetch them with fetch lands. It's a huge deal. In the original Ravnica block, there was Farseek. Farseek existed in Standard, thanks to M13, I believe, during Return to Ravnica's tenure. So, yeah, these shock lands, they saw a ton of play. They defined the format. You are looking for these lands when you crack a box, and we found our first one. And it is a good one. I'm a huge fan of Izzet, and I played a lot of blue-red decks in my time. And it looks like another rare to wrap things up. Guild Feud, another one of those in contention for worst rare in the set type rares. So not a lot to get excited about there, other than the fact that it's shiny and it comes with a land that is sweet. All right. So, still haven't found that Sphinx's Revelation, but we did find a Steam Vent. Hopefully we can find some other shock lands to go with it. Chronic Flooding, Giant Growth, Trader's Instinct, Rootborn Defenses, Transguild Promenade, Cobble Brutes, Stealer of Secrets, Nightly Valor, Splatter Thug, Selesnya Guildgate, Buster Coil Weird, Xanarchy Locust. So this has not been an exciting pack so far. I think I am first picking the Transguild Promenade. I like casting my spells. Do we get a better land to take than Transguild Promenade? Maybe we get a Hallowed Fountain. No, we get a Chaos Imps. That's fine. It clearly breathes fire. Just look at it. And it attacks for 6. and it's just a giant animal that gets people dead. So does not count towards our playable count, unfortunately. But we're definitely first picking it. Only 8 more packs remain. That Sphinx's Revelation hiding at the bottom. Paralyzing Grasp, Axebane Stag, Catacomb Slug. I remember a sealed Grand Prix in which Cedric Phillips main decked 2 of this card. Everyone gave him grief about it, and then he top-8'd. Props to him. Skullrend, Hussar Patrol, Downsize, Explosive Impact, Stonefair Crocodile, Daggerdrome Imp, Doorkeeper, Minotaur Aggressor. Is it Keyrune? New Prov Guildmage, that's the first pick. Unless... Hypersonic Dragon. That is our second Hypersonic Dragon. It is no more playable and constructed this time than it was last time, but it is still a sweet card to first pick. There weren't a lot of bad rares for limited in this set, other than like the Shocklands, which were still pretty good, and you still first picked them because they were Shocklands. Urban Burgeoning, Inspiration, Trained Carousel, Augur Spree, Chemist's Trick, Dredge Beetle, Rakdos Guildgate, Void Wilder. I think we're taking Void Wilder over Augur Spree. That was usually the way that I went so far. Selesnya Sentry over Jailbreaker, Soul Tithe, Assassin's Strike, Teleportal, Sphinx of the Chimes. So I really want to give this card credit as being playable too, even though I don't think anyone ever did anything broken with it, but the jury's still out. I think this card is just like asking for someone to break in Legacy or Modern somehow. I'm not really sure how you would do that. I always wanted to play this card in a deck with like 30 Shadowborn Apostles, but never really found the time to explore that. I'm gonna give... Nah, I can't. I was gonna give it half credit as like a half a playable rare, but it just hasn't happened yet, but it will. So we'll say still 15 playable rares with like an asterisk, because that card's gonna get broken eventually. Just you wait. Aerial Predation, Chronic Flooding, Search Warrant, Sluiceway Scorpion, Selesnya Sentry, Ogre Jailbreaker, Batterhorn, Rubbleback Rhino, Seller of Songbirds, Sewer Shambler, Bluster Squall. Big fan of this card in Limited. Might first pick it even. Azorius Keyrune, Fencing Ace, Sphinx's Revelation, Martial Law. Probably first picking this, actually. Martial Law, not a card that ever saw play in Constructed, but much like Growing Ranks, it just sits there and helps you quietly every turn, which is an effect that we're in the market for. So snapping off that first pick and keeping it out of our 60-card decks. Crosstown Courier, Launch Party, Golgari Longlegs, Still Creepy, Search Warrant, Ogre Jailbreaker, Asperious Skywatch, Rubbleback Rhino, Azorius Arrestor, Explosive Impact, Fairy Imposter, another card that I always wanted to be good, but I don't think it's just found the right home yet. But there is probably an abusable shell for this deck somewhere, maybe even in an Eternal format. I like the idea of like getting back your Vendilion clicks and Spellstutter sprites and such with it. Heroes Reunion, Treasured Find, Niv Mizzet, Draco Genius, the man that built the maze. Well, not the man, the dragon that built the maze. Niv Mizzet, Draco Genius, stupid powerful and limited, and very briefly saw play as a finisher in control decks kind of early on in this standard format. So I'm definitely going to give it credit as a playable. We're up to 16 playables now. I believe this is our 4th Mythic. So the odds of that Sphinx's Revelation hiding out later deep in the box, slowly lowering, but still pretty excited to crack a Niv Mizzet. I know this is a pretty popular card to play as your commander. And Paralyzing Grasp, the foil to tie things together. Unfortunately, I just put the Paralyzing Grasp on the Niv Mizzet, so that sucks. This guy's never run tapping now. All right, 4 packs remaining. And the Revelation still eludes us. Mizium Skin, Catacomb Slug, Eyes in the Skies, Survey the Wreckage, Sundering Growth, Augur Spree, Sunspire Griffin, Selesnya Guildgate, Crow's Monitor, Rune Lane, Skyline Predator. This card no one else ever seemed to want this card in draft, but I was always super happy to have this card in my deck. I don't know, just being able to flash a guy in is just the best feeling. Well, fourth best feeling after attacking for 2, attacking for 6, and attacking with a giant fire-breathing flyer. Thought Flare. I also played this card. I talked about Firemind's Foresight earlier as a card I considered playing. This card I actually played in a blue-white red control deck at a Pro Tour. Huge fan of Thought Flare. Thrill Kill Assassin. And it's a Lotleth Troll. I started to say we may be getting Abrupt Decay number 3 here, but no, we get Lotleth Troll, which is definitely a playable. Did do some work in the black-green zombie decks of its standard era. It hasn't really made a ton of noise in Eternal format since, although there are graveyard-based kind of grave crawler decks in Modern that do play this card, and a lot of potential to still break out. So pretty excited about a Lotleth Troll. I believe that brings us up to 17 playable rares. Warncaller's Chant, Pursuit of Flight, Train Carousel, Chronic Flooding, Common Bond, Golgari Longlegs, Skullrend, Goblin Electromancer. I think that's the playset. We did it. Tower Drake, Knightly Valor, Sphere of Safety, Slitherhead, Soulsworn Spirit. First picking it, except we're going to get a Sphinx's Revelation right under it. It's a land. We did it. We did it. It's a Hallowed Fountain. Okay, I'm going to rare draft. We're first picking the Hallowed Fountain. Easy game. All right. So second Shockland, 18th playable rare. 2 packs left to go. Which one is going to contain the Sphinx's Revelation? I'm going to start with... These are both Guild Mages, I believe. I think this is V2 Gaza Guild Mage and Rick's Mighty Guild Mage. I'm going to start with Rick's Mighty Guild Mage. See what kind of goodies you got for me. Guildgate Cancel, Swift Justice, Husk Patrol, Void Builder, Snap It Off, Gate Creeper Vine, Vishino Racketeer, Cremate, Selesnya Sentry, Slum Reaper, Live Sky Knight. That's a first pick. Street Sweeper, Epic Experiment. Okay, so that's I was looking for a Mythic X spell, and I got exactly what I wanted, guys. So yeah, Epic Experiment. It's playable. There was a period of time when this card was actually like the default way to build Storm decks in Modern. If you've ever cast it in a Storm deck for any reasonable amount, you probably won that game. Card's very powerful, but it's kind of fallen by the wayside recently. Yeah, pretty excited about that. So that is Mythic number 5. Again, not the Mythic we were actually looking for, but look at me complaining about my Mythics. Assassin Strike, foil to wrap things up, and the last pack. This is it, guys. I heard it. I literally heard the revelation. The Sphinx whispered it to me. He was like 34, and I'm like, deal. So it's going to be in here, underneath the Giant Growth, the Crosstown Courier, the Dynacharge, the Terrace Worm, the Sundering Growth, the Goblin Electromancer, the Stealer of Secrets, the Grim Roustabouts, the Azorius Guildgate, the Tenement Crusher, the Security Blockade, the Dregbangler, the Staticaster. We didn't do it. But we did get a Blood Crypt. So that is Shockland number 3. Pretty happy about that. So all in all, a pretty good haul out of this box. So that was, let's see. Get these, the Mythics over here. The kind of not playable but junky rares up here. Shocklands here. Playable stuff here. I feel like I'm kind of revealing my secrets here, where like earlier I was like, yeah, this card's totally playable. We gotta count it. And now I'm like, yeah, it's junk. Get out of here. But that's okay. It's okay. I'm still pretty satisfied with what we pulled out of here. Mythic. Oh yeah, I forgot all about these guys. Nice. Okay, so looks like our total haul was 3 Shocklands, all of which still seeing play, of course, in Modern, and probably will from now until the end of time. 2 Rest in Peace, 2 Abrupt Decay, Lotleth Troll, Mizium Mortars, Ash Zealot, Underworld Connections. These are all rares that I think have a reasonable chance to be seeing play in Modern or Legacy at some point now or in the future. Of course, the Abrupt Decay is kind of a marquee removal spell in Legacy already, so very pumped about those. The rest, definitely some value there. And then 5 Mythics, a Sweet Commander, a Legacy playable Giant Monster, a couple other Giant Monsters, and then the blue Mythic X spell that everyone isn't actually looking for, but still pretty excited about an Epic Experiment. So yeah, not a bad haul at all. You know, I heard that Sphinx's Revelation, but I think maybe I heard it coming from one of the other boxes. My sense of hearing is too sharp. I can hear him coming. Hey, can I get one of those other boxes?
No.
No?
No.
But the...
No.
Okay, all right. Well, that's us then. Well, again, pretty happy with the haul that we got here. So if you enjoyed this unboxing video, be sure to click the like button here, the subscribe button here. Talk back to us in the comments way down there. And check out some of our other unboxing videos, which I believe are going to be over here somewhere. But I'm Andrew Shrout. Thanks for watching.